We are live.
Hey, everybody, we're back.
And we're still in Spain, as you can see. I think this is our third Sunday. We've had 2 Thursdays and 3 Sundays here. This is our last Sunday. We'll be back in Lisbon next week. We will miss it.
But I miss home.
Yeah, I do miss home. I miss Lisbon so much.
Even if it's raining. I think it's raining here. It's been raining.
It's been raining. It's been raining, according to the news. So for those of you who have not made up your mind where you want to move, you just know that the United States ain't it. For those of you who think you have to wait until your kids graduate from high school, some of you are waiting until your kids graduate from college. Yeah.
Clock's ticking, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, do you really want to subject your kids to what you were subjected to? Really? No. They don't want to do that.
No.
And one of the things, that we talk about is not total regret, but the regret that we didn't do it when our kids could have been influenced in a positive way by living outside of the United States.
We almost did. South Africa.
We almost did. But did we really think it was truly possible, or was it kind of like a dream?
I think it was more a dream then.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a thought.
It was a thought. At least we had the thought. And we did expose our youngest to a month in South Africa where he was in the majority. And I know that it had a positive effect on him. It's just too bad we could not have spent more time outside of the country, because Lord knows the United States is dedicated to killing the spirit of Black folks, and especially Black males. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, we had to rush back to the United States to have our spirits killed.
And to go back to work.
And go back to work.
Because we had debt. So today we are going to talk to a family that has decided when their kids were very young, one wasn't even born, it's time to get out of Dodge. It's time to get out of Dodge, y'all.
Do something different.
Right?
Yes.
Right? And so from Atlanta to South America to Mexico to Spain and places in between, this family is going to talk to you about what it's like to travel nomadically as a family, just like the Yarbroughs, searching for a place to call home. Now, of course, if we had our way, we know what they call home.
Yeah.
Lisbon.
We might talk about it. We'll work on it.
But for now, they are living in Madrid. So we're going to talk to them. But before we get started, for those of you who have not yet signed up to the Move to Portugal Summit, why? Because today is the last day for the early bird prices. Prices double. Yeah, tomorrow the price is double. Don't wait. Don't wait. Open up another tab. Don't leave this. Open a tab and go ahead and get your ticket while you're listening, right?
Be sure to get your ticket.
There you go. You want to sing to us some more?
Got bad in the mind.
Yeah, you want to get your ticket. So we're going to have, we've got remote working. We're going to have attorney Sandra Gomez talking about all the different visa types, what you need to know to get your visa. We're going to have somebody talking about pet passports. Y'all have asked us about pet passports. We're going to have somebody talking about that. Plus, we're going to have around English speak, but different parts of Portugal. So you can get the 411 on what it's like looking like us, living outside. So LGBTQ, we're going to have kids talking. You're going to get the whole gamut. And I don't know what's happened to our internet. Did you just see that? But hopefully we're okay.
But I think we're still good.
All right. So let us know. He got his ticket. He got his ticket. So let us know that you can hear us okay. You see that we're using our portable microphones and all of that. So and that you can hear us and that we look okay, because
we never said who we were.
Hey, y'all. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to Our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth. For those of you who are new to our channel and do not know about what 7.5, 8 years ago, Rick and I were getting close to retirement age. We looked at our money and it looked crazy. Our savings account wasn't going to support this life. That's for doggone sure. But about 4 years ago, we got our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 in net worth to over 1 million. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so that you know every single time that we go live, and hit that like button if you enjoy this conversation. So who are we talking to today?
We're talking to Old Family Adventures.
That's right. Justin and Courtney are joining us, and their babies are asleep. So unfortunately, yes, you will not be able to meet them today. But you can go on to their IG channel, and they're starting a YouTube channel, and see the beautiful pictures of their family around the world. So without further ado, hey, y'all.
Hey.
Good to see you. Good to see you. So tell us where you are right now.
We are currently in Barcelona, Spain. Yeah, we took a weekend trip up here from Madrid.
Right down the road from.
Yep, just down the road. I love it. I love it. So why don't you all introduce yourselves? You can do a much better job than we can, and then we'll say hello to some folks in the audience.
Of course. So I am Courtney. This is Justin. We are a married couple. We travel nomadically with our 2 children. Our oldest just turned 4 last month, and Whitley is about 18 months now.
Yeah, 18 months. And we're from Atlanta. We decided to do this last year, a year and a half. We've been traveling a year and a half, and started in Mexico. Now we are in Spain. So.
Now, did you have your baby on the road, or did you have your baby in Atlanta and then take off?
You know what? I wanted to have Whitley in Mexico. And Justin always loves it when people ask this question, because I'm still like, we should have had her in Mexico. But Whitley was actually born in Atlanta. We left the US when she was 10 weeks old, and headed down to Mexico after selling our house. Yeah, it was all very hectic, but a whole lot of fun and a great story. So she and Xavier were both born in the US.
Okay. All right. I love it.
So if she was born in Mexico, she'd have citizenship.
No.
Yeah.
Does Mexico work that way?
Yeah.
Okay, because every country does not. They don't care where you're born. The United States does, but
yeah, I thought Mexico did too.
Okay. Tell me. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. All right. Let's see who is in the audience today. We've got 100 people watching, so I expect that there's 100 likes right now, right? Right, y'all? Thank you, Action VJ. Hey, Melon T.
Hey, Mel.
We miss you guys.
Drew.
Yes, we will see you next week. Thank God. Spain is beautiful, but some of the foods and things like that, we just miss. And I was looking, so one of our subscribers is coming to Lisbon, and she sent me the address of her Airbnb and asked about the neighborhood. So I was Google walking around the neighborhood, because I had never, wherever she's gotten that Airbnb, we haven't been over there. So I was Google walking around the neighborhood, and I was like, oh, home. So even though it's a totally different neighborhood outside of the city center, just the cobblestone sidewalks and all of that is just, it's like, okay. You don't know until you leave. So Ray says, where is everybody? They're coming on. So, hey, Paula, good to see you. It's been a minute since I caught a live, but I'm ready now. Okay, Paula, right. We want to know, are you ready to get out of Dodge? Time to get out of Dodge. Hey, Greta. Good to see you. Valerina.
Hey.
L, if I know. Finally caught one. Yeah, this is a new name. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
Artwork Insights is in the house. LL Cooper from Washington, D.C.
Hey, Vanessa.
Good to see you. Sharon. Ms. B. Now, that seems like a new name. Or did you change your name because the picture looks familiar? Hey, KB. Latina Yogi is joining us. Carmen, Living Lounging. Auntie Trey.
Hey, Auntie.
That's what I'm talking about. I took 2 naps today. How many naps? 2 naps. Because I can. Because I can. Hey, Krishan. So y'all know that we have partnered with Blacksit Global to present to you the virtual summit. Now, you know Krishan, you know us, you know it's going to be on point. You know it's going to be on point. So if you think you might want to move to Portugal, you don't want to miss this, because we will give you the shortcuts and make sure that you are ready to go. I believe in shortcuts. Like back in the day, I don't need no help. I got this. You know, that is just so last century.
And too much work.
Right? The pride and the ego. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And we might show you how you can get to Portugal sooner, because what is true today in Portugal is not necessarily true tomorrow. Same with Spain. In any of the countries, they can change those visa processes and laws at any time.
Anytime.
Right? Hey, Marguerite, I know you're in Lisbon. Yay! We are so happy for you. We can't wait to get back and break bread. Definitely. Bahan Alpha 4. Did I say that right? Hola.
Bahan
¿Qué
Alpha
tal?
4.
Yeah.
Hola.
New name, or you've changed your name. Nubianette, good to see you. Alicia, good to see you. Alberto, good to see you. All right. Hey, family, friends, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to hear the story. In Atlanta, Mecca, maybe one of the Black Meccas we see in Atlanta. So we have internet issues.
A little bit of lag.
We're having that, and what's that? So let's see. Hold on. We're having.
It's going strong.
Turn it on though.
Okay. No, it's not you guys. It's us. So give us a minute.
Okay.
You're back now. I can hear and see you.
Okay. Give us a minute. I don't understand why it's saying Wi-Fi when we have the Wi-Fi off. There we go. All right. Everything okay? Everybody see us? So maybe we need to put that on something that's not pulling.
It's not. It wasn't pulling.
Something was wrong. All right. Everything good? Y'all can hear us?
Okay.
Okay. So tell us about this story. Y'all are sitting in Atlanta, one of the Black Meccas of the United States, and you decide to leave and go to Mexico. I've had Mexican Americans saying, why would you get residency in Mexico? All of them are coming to America.
Yeah, we hear that a lot too. That's one of the unsolicited critiques that we get oftentimes on social media. But, I think it's multifactorial. I think that one of the overarching pieces is the US just wasn't for us, right? And I think we hit like a lot of people that like post-COVID thing of like, we bought this big house with this big yard for this like remote work, and they had a nanny. And, it's like, okay, we hit this point of like, this is the American dream. So why are we unfulfilled? Why do we constantly want to take trips and leave? And why does a lot of this feel almost hollow, right? And that's not to say that we didn't like our life. We had built a beautiful life for ourselves and, for our kid, and we lived near family. But I think ultimately it was just like, now that we've attained like all of these things that we've been told since we were very small that we wanted and that we had to do, like, why does it feel like it's just not hitting like the way that it's supposed to hit,
Yeah, I think it's also important to know, like, we grew up essentially in the Atlanta area, and our parents, I feel like, gave us like the very best. Like, we were upper middle class, raised, had everything we ever wanted, lived in the suburbs. And so we knew what that life would have looked like for our kids, it's a great life. It really is. But we wanted more adventure. We wanted something different. And, just with everything going on in America, that's the second part of it.
Yeah, that's the big thing, between the whole can of worms that I will not get too deep into because, the thought of sending Xavier to public school and the thought of all of the socio-political turmoil and just everything that's going on. It came to a point when Whitley was on the way, our youngest, where we kind of looked at each other and we're like, okay, it's sort of now or never, right? When we have one kid and maybe a little baby, we can pack up, we can go, we can figure it out. But once we have two and they start school and like that time starts to go, it's not that it's impossible or that it can't be done, but I find that with those big leaps, it's much easier if you just kind of like jump into the deep end, right? As opposed to waiting for the perfect moment. I don't believe there's ever like a perfect moment.
Yeah, we would have been waiting 18 years for the kids to grow up. So yeah, that's kind of why we decided.
Mm-hmm. That American dream. You have the house, maybe in the suburbs, maybe not, depends on, your lifestyle. You've got the trappings, got all the stuff. So why am I sitting in the backyard in tears? Why am I not jumping for joy? And we had a friend, as we were planning to move and selling the cars and doing all of that stuff. So we sold the cars to our car broker, back to the car broker who's back
to the guy that
we bought them from. Now, this gentleman is financial. And we're having issues. Can we put something under that? Something is going on. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
It's not this. Sometimes the internet is actually.
Yeah, the internet decided it wants to be goofy today. No, I don't know. Okay.
We're wired.
Yeah, we're wired in, but then it looks like it's back and forth between Wi-Fi, even though we have Wi-Fi off. Yeah, let's go ahead and turn it back on. I don't know, but we're going to figure this out because the devil is a liar. I know that much. But anyway, so we turn to, we're selling our cars and everything. And he turns and looks at me because Rick wasn't there and said, this can't be all there is to it. And I'm like, exactly. You don't want to get to your 75 and you got all the diamonds and the gold and the houses and the rental properties and the this and the that and say, this can't be all there is to it. So bravo for you guys for figuring it out while you're still young and gorgeous and not old and decrepit. Because that would have been us, right? Like 65, 75, me 65, you 75, me 66, you 70, whatever,
I don't see myself being old and decrepit.
Well, no. And he's not old and decrepit. He's not old and decrepit, but I'm going to tell you, these bodies compared to my 30-year-old body.
No age, but it's okay.
It is not the same. So, okay. So why Mexico? Why was Mexico the first place?
I think because that's where we had visited. So we kept on going to Mexico. So I would say our first trip that we took post-pandemic and with kids, well, without our kid, was Aruba. We decided to go on our honeymoon. It was like a delayed honeymoon after COVID. We went to Aruba. And we were sitting on the beach like, wow, this is gorgeous. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. How can we do this more often? I think that's where the wheels started to turn in our head.
We love traveling.
Yeah, it was the traveling and really getting off like a resort. We didn't even stay at a resort. We were like at a boutique hotel. And we were getting to know the culture. We rented a car. We were learning new things, experiencing new things.
Talking to people, asking questions, butchering the papiamento.
Exactly. And then the next trip we took after that was Mexico. So we went straight to Merida.
We went to Playa del Carmen, Jose.
Yeah, we went to Playa del Carmen.
Yeah. And then we came back for like a week and a half, and
Mhm.
that's when we began to scout. So we took a trip. It was our baby moon. I was like 7 months pregnant. And we landed in Cancun. We took a road trip up to Merida because by then we were like, where are the Black expats? Where are people? Where are they going? What does it look like? Right? We're in the
Mhm.
Facebook groups and everyone's like, Merida, Merida, Merida. And
Yeah.
we saw Merida and we said, oh, this is Merida. And then we went to Playa del Carmen. And so that's one of the places we touched down. I think Mexico in general, with having a small baby, we had to consider proximity to the US. That was just kind of like a thing, right? Again, Whitley was 10 weeks old when we left. So I think part of it was like, you know, if anything happens,
Mhm.
we need family to be able to get here quickly or get back to them or whatever. And then another thing was time zones. So we both will work remote jobs in tech, right? So we kind of started with this process of like, let's look at the whole wide world. And then we started to kind of like narrow and whittle and figure out what worked. And we landed on Mexico.
The time zone thing is no joke.
Mhm.
Y'all, it's 10 o'clock here, basically.
Yeah.
And when we came up with this time, we already knew we were coming to Portugal.
Yeah.
Did I do the math to say, okay, well, what time will we be doing it this in Lisbon? No, I did not. No, I did not. So, yeah, the time zone is no joke. Okay, so you were working remotely in Mexico. And then where did you go?
So we stayed in Mexico for 8 months total. Like
Yeah.
we got an apartment, we signed a lease. We were still on a tourist visa, but we stayed in Mexico. And in that 8 months, we explored other cities. So we stayed in, our base was in Guadalajara,
Mm-hmm.
the second largest city in
Okay.
Mexico, kind of like the tech
Yep.
hub of Mexico.
Yeah.
And we visited Mexico City. We visited Puerto Vallarta on the west coast,
Sayulita.
Sayulita.
Went back and forth to Tulum a few times.
We were in Tulum a lot.
So those are home base.
Yeah, so we essentially were like, all right, let's see what Mexico's all about while basing in one of their major cities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I had no idea Guadalajara was the tech capital of Mexico or hub.
I
Yeah,
didn't know either.
we didn't either.
Yeah,
Like,
because that was the thing. We were focused on like infrastructure, right? Because again, we've got like 2 kids, a little baby. Where's the childcare? Where's the Wi-Fi so we can work? Where are the hospitals, the schools, things like this? And we looked into Mexico City initially. And I think one of the larger things, especially coming off the pandemic, was a lot of the Mexico City locals were like, hey, digital nomads, please stop coming here. And so I was kind of like, okay, let's find another city. Justin was all about that beach town life.
yeah, I thought I wanted to be in a beach town, so we looked at Playa. Like, I really thought Playa was going to be our home, and we settled on what was best for the kids and what was best for our family. Like, Mexico City was kind of too big, Playa was
Yeah.
too small, so we found something in the middle.
Yeah. You know, I thought we were going to be all about that beach life too.
Yeah. Something about the sand.
Yeah, he doesn't like the sand.
I
But
love the beach. I just don't like the sand.
but here's the thing, you know, I need more action.
Mm.
Yeah.
And beach
Yeah.
towns tend to be smaller, right? Except for LA. But, you know, outside of like Mexico, all of the Mexico beach towns that I've been to, and growing up in San Diego, I've been to quite a few. I mean, vacation is all good, but to live there, I'm not sure. So I hope y'all are taking notes, especially those. I saw some people talking about they have friends and stuff who have kids. You heard them talk about what the things that they were looking for. In down below, we have a Move Abroad Toolkit, or link to a Move Abroad Toolkit. These are the questions, and a scouting trip checklist. These are the questions that you need to be asking yourself depending upon your situation. So for them, they needed infrastructure. They needed to know that hospitals, they had a hospital and it was close by and well regarded, et cetera, right? So have your list. Don't just be going on emotions talking about, oh yeah, I can see myself on the beach with a Mai Tai. And then when life shows up, you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you just plan on going on vacation.
Unless it's just vacation. Exactly. But when life shows up, you got to make sure that what you need is there and available, right? Okay. So what was after Mexico?
Right after that was, well, we did
We went
Spain.
in between.
Yeah.
Y'all, we move around a lot.
We did Spain right after Mexico.
And Morocco.
And we touched Morocco,
Yeah.
but that wasn't like for scouting.
Scouting,
That
yeah.
was, yeah, so it was Spain. We flew into Madrid, and we kept hearing things about southern Spain, right?
Mhm.
People were talking about Sevilla, so shout out to, what is the YouTube family that lives in
AG3. The AG3 family.
Yeah. AG3 family.
So we visited Sevilla and we visited Malaga too.
Yeah. And we really did treat that as a scouting trip as well. So by the time we got to we were nearing like the end of our time in Mexico, we had enrolled Xavier in a school and he really liked it. At first I was on team like homeschool. And then I think his temperament started to show and my temperament started to show. And I said, well, maybe this isn't copacetic for all of us.
Yeah.
I love being his mother. I don't think I love being his teacher. So one of the things that we did when we got to Spain was to look for where schools were and then kind of like tour and like walk about like that area. So that's one of the reasons why we're back here now in Spain is because we had such a good experience. But we only spent the last few weeks of the year kind of like touring through Spain, and then we're back to Mexico.
Yeah. And then right after Mexico was Colombia. So we did we kind of stayed in Mexico. You know, we knew that we weren't going to apply for citizenship or residency. We knew that our lease was coming to an end. So the next step was really a scouting trip. And we're still kind of on our scouting trip.
I know the perpetual scouting trip is going to be our new Instagram handle, the way things are looking.
Yeah.
So we've got to get you to Lisbon. But so was Medellin ever on the list, or was Medellin a vacation?
Yeah, we thought
scouting or
Medellin
vacation?
might work.
Medellin was definitely on the list.
Yeah, we really thought it might work. We'd heard great things. I think a lot of what we'd heard was more so from individuals or adults and not as much from families, which is something that's always interesting when we're trying to do a research and scout a location. It's like, there aren't too many people out there that are just like, yeah, this city's like great to push a stroller through. So that's kind of like part of what we have to take into consideration, right? Or even when the 4-year-old gets tired from walking, do you really want to have to give him a piggyback ride up, a 45, incline hill to get back to your accommodation, like these sorts of things.
Yeah, Medellin was definitely.
We went to Lisbon actually. And I'll tell you what, I was so pregnant in Lisbon. Those hills got me. We were in Lisbon. I was like 32, 33. I was more pregnant than I should have been into traveling internationally. But Lisbon was gorgeous. We did love Lisbon. We do love Lisbon.
I love Lisbon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like Medellin was definitely like our top choice because of the cost of living was so attractive in Medellin. Like I think still is, like it's very, very affordable if you make US dollars. So
it's also just beautiful.
It's beautiful.
The biodiversity. And then also being able to touch like Ecuador's right there. There's city, there's mountains, there's beach. Like
the food. I like the food. I mean,
so good.
Yeah, Medellin, we really tried to make it work. So we were in Medellin for about a month and a half.
Like 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks.
A month and a half. And the walkability got to us. It's not super walkable. And there were other
good to know.
Well. Yeah. So yeah, Medellin.
I mean, if you love hills, if you have really strong calves, there are little pockets that are flat, but in general, the city, it's just, there's no walking.
It's
there.
hilly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Lisbon is very walkable, but very hilly, right? And there's flat parts, and you can avoid the hills with public transportation very, very easily. There are neighborhoods that are flat where at least to get your daily stuff done, it's no big deal. And so that's true for us, even because we're at the top of a hill. But to get to 2 of the major grocery stores, we don't have to do hills. Just slight decline, incline, whatever. I mean, slight. some people
Yeah.
might not even
Once
notice
you're on
it.
top of the hill, you're good.
You're good, right?
It's just getting on top.
It's
of the hill.
getting on top of the hill.
Yeah.
What about, did you guys go to Bogota?
We did.
Yes.
Yeah. We went to Bogota. We only stayed about 10 days.
And
Because
what is that?
I don't like that gray, dreary weather.
I love Bogota. I like
It's nice.
I like fall weather. And so I think like less the rain, Bogota was really nice. I really liked Bogota.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know, I think our toxic trait is like every time we kind of like touch down somewhere, there's that few days of like a honeymoon period. And it's like, I could live here.
Of course.
And then after like a week or so,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, actually.
Well, I think there's something that we learned out of all of this.
Mhm.
Remember that? So after our time in Mexico, we learned that we didn't want to be car dependent.
Yeah.
We didn't want to be a car dependent family. And I think if
Okay.
you're thinking about this
Okay.
journey, you have to really consider, do you want a car or do you not? Do you want to rely on public transit, walking, Uber, etc.?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because once you do get a car, you know, say you want to leave, it's a big hassle, right? There are a lot of things that you have to pay for, insurance, etc. So that's why, you know, Mexico, we didn't stay longer than the time we did.
Yeah.
And Medellin and Bogota didn't work either because they're not super walkable. It's a car city.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's very true.
yeah.
I just want to give a shout out. I see our daughters in the audience. I see one of my moms is in the audience. I got lots of moms. I got all of this.
You got 3-4 moms.
I do. And I am so fortunate. I am so fortunate to have all of these women of wisdom in my life. So I just wanted to tell you guys I love you and I see you. You know, it's good to know what you like and what you don't like. And we knew we did not want to be car dependent. And one of the things about where we were staying in Mexico is that it wasn't very walkable. Now we figured out the little commuter bus. I can't remember what they're called now.
I call it a van.
The band did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. We figured them out.
Yeah.
we got to the major grocery stores and stuff like that. You know, and my Spanish wasn't half as good as it is now. I thought it was a lot better than it was. I figured out I understand Venezuelans better than I understand Mexicans.
Oh, I was just saying
Yeah.
We were just
really?
saying,
What is that?
We ran into a Venezuelan man at a coffee shop and we walked out, asked him where he was from because I could understand him so well. And he said he was from Venezuela. And we walked out and I was like, isn't it odd? Like with exposure, like certain accents just are easier to understand for you. Yeah.
It's true. It's very true. That we ran into, when we went to get our SIM cards here in Girona, the guy who was in the Vodafone place is from Venezuela. And so most of the people here, of course, speak Catalan. They speak Spanish as well. But I could understand him. And we got the whole thing done. Instead of getting the physical SIM, we got the eSIM. Was able to I was like, yeah, that's right. But my Spanish tutor is Venezuelan. So I think that's why, you know. Now, interestingly, Mexicans that I know from Mexico say they love the Venezuelan accent because they're also educated. So I told my tutor that. She blushed. But I think they've got pretty much free university in Venezuela, which is the least they can do. Since they don't do a lot of other stuff correctly, according to her. That's not my opinion. Don't get in the comments. That's what she said. Okay, her country. She said it. I'm repeating it. All right. So we do have some questions in. Let me start. So I'm finally figuring out that I should start these. Okay. So.
Well, maybe I like it. Good thoughts on it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Lose us? Can you hear me?
Okay. See, it's doing that again.
Oh, you're coming back now.
It's us.
Okay.
It's us and this internet. I don't know.
And we have both of them on.
We've got the Wi-Fi and we're wired in. Anyway, so Rick, ask your question again.
I was asking, what do you think of Madrid? And, do you like it? You still in between what?
We love Madrid. Yeah, we
really
love
loved it.
Madrid. I think Madrid checks, I want to say, all of our boxes, which is like huge.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the first time we came here as a family, we weren't really so keen on it, right? We came here and we couldn't wait to like leave and get to like southern Spain. But this time, I think especially because the weather is so nice, we're really being like, we can get out and like really enjoy and explore. We love Madrid. I think that the vibe is great. It's a super walkable city. One of the most walkable, I think, I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And then also, like, the food is fantastic. We find the people to be friendly. And there are just lots of like activities and parks and like places to go and things to do.
The diversity as well. Like it is extremely diverse. Like even here in Barcelona, but Madrid is extremely diverse. They have a huge African population, immigrants.
Those Dominicans and like Puerto Ricans that are like Black, like Afro-Latino people from the Caribbean.
A lot.
Yeah.
So you don't feel out of place at all.
Okay.
I think Madrid is probably the most diverse city in Spain we've been to.
Oh yeah.
Girona, I think we're the only Black people here. Oh no, I've seen 2 more. Dude yesterday, and then maybe 1 other person.
There's a couple more.
Okay, 3 more. And that's it. That's it. And Barcelona, when we were there the first time, we saw a lot more brown people than we did just this last time. Interestingly. And I was saying, like, where'd they go? Where'd they go? I don't know.
What do you think?
Yeah, because it's touristy. I think Barcelona, more so than Madrid, has a lot of tourists, so maybe they come in waves.
Seasonal,
seasonal.
maybe labor, something like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if I remember exactly the demographics of the people from the last time we were here. It seems like so long ago. It's only 2019, but that's a whole anything pre-2020 is just
right. It was a long time ago. Especially as far as how our world has changed since then. But we were there close to Christmas time. So we were there in the winter in 2018. And then, of course, summer now or late summer. So I don't know, that Christmas time wasn't necessarily a especially touristy time because it was really rainy. It was rainy in Madrid. It was rainy there. Not in contrast to how rainy it was in Italy. Italy was crazy. Italy was crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
So, oh gosh, it was so rainy when we were there.
Oh yeah.
Just recently.
So not surprised. So what brought you to Spain after Mexico? Baja Alpha wants to know.
Yeah, I think it was along the lines of keeping it Spanish speaking, right? So we had thought about the fact that our kid was already learning Spanish. Courtney is almost fluent. I'm already starting to learn. So let's keep it Spanish speaking, but that walkability is really what we were after. After 8 months, we rented a car the whole time in Mexico, and you know how expensive that gets. And so I think we were just like, you know what, Latin America is going to be just car dependent. Let's check out Europe and let's check out Spain specifically.
Because there was a lot between like leaving Mexico and coming to Spain. And then we were also just recently in Mexico again. We just did fly in Tulum for a couple of months. And I think especially after being in Rio de Janeiro, which in a lot of ways felt kind of like European in that we could walk and the way that like the buildings are set up, like it was just very different than like Colombia and Mexico and other places we've been. We just kind of like got the itch to like come back to Europe since we'd already been a few times.
Okay.
And if you were in Rio speaking Portugal, Lisbon is a natural progression.
I know you're an evangelist. I will say,
No, Lisbon is not for everybody. Lisbon is not for everybody. Portugal is not for everybody.
Yeah, try. Whitley's
is one-
waking up. She heard we were having fun out here, and she decided she wanted to try to join the party.
Sounds good to me. So Baha also wants to know, what did you think of Sevilla?
I fell in love with Sevilla instantly. I think a lot of that was the charm. A lot of that was like the cobblestone, the architecture, and then the orange trees. The orange trees just did it for me. And that combined with the water, the river that runs through it. I will say though, southern Spain, we really love it, but I think it also has a feel that skews a little bit more maybe like conservative, a little bit more traditional, a little bit more older is kind of like the vibe that we got from it. So I think as much as like it is gorgeous and does have charm, there was also a little bit of like, does it feel like a holiday or does it feel like somewhere that feels like home?
Okay.
Hold on. Let me switch to Justin really quickly.
Okay. So I'm seeing your comments and I am marking them in the chat. So we're live, y'all. We're live, and this is how it is.
The timing.
She didn't. Yeah, that's okay. She didn't stay down for too long.
Yeah. Let me close the door really quick.
Okay. So yeah, Greta, they have visited Lisbon, and they really like it. But she was very pregnant when she was there the last time, and so those hills.
I ain't pregnant, and I still say those hills, but it's home.
It is home. It is home, and it feels like home. And there's a different vibe. And Rick he's like, when we first got to Girona, he's like, I could do this. Just yesterday, was that yesterday or the day before? You're like,
yesterday.
I couldn't do this.
It's beautiful. I could come visit. It's a beautiful place.
It's a little bit too homogenous for us. We like more diversity. We like seeing more people who look like us. And in Lisbon, it is not unusual to get on certain trains and buses and be in the majority. And I like that. So southern Spain, Courtney was saying, felt more conservative, and it's not surprising because it's less expensive. So if you think about just like how we have to retire in the United States, right? Folks retire, they maybe have a family home down there, maybe they worked in Madrid or in one of the bigger cities, and then it's time to retire, less money. Where do you move to? You move back home.
Yeah, like for me, southern Spain, especially Sevilla, Malaga was a little better. But Sevilla felt much like southern Georgia. So if you've ever been to Atlanta, you go down to Savannah. It's very pretty, it's very charming, but it's old school thinking. And so I never connected with any of the people while I was in Sevilla. So that was really huge for me. Even when I go to a store, get coffee, whatever, people will typically ask where I'm from. I felt invisible in Sevilla. And we had stayed
not invisible in a good way.
not in a good way. Mostly like that feeling of no one, there wasn't a lot of Black people. There wasn't a lot of people that looked like you. And no one was really trying to get to know you super well. So for me, it was instantly no. Malaga was a little bit better because I think Malaga gets more tourism. Yeah. So you are having more people come from the UK, from France, etc.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely more tourists in Malaga than Sevilla. And when you talk about invisibility, the good invisibility is when the police are not paying attention to you.
Yeah.
That's the good invisibility. When the security guard at the grocery store doesn't give you a second look when you walk in with your backpack.
Yeah.
But when it feels like you're the other, that's when it feels kind of yucky, And one of the things that it's interesting because people say that Portuguese folks aren't friendly.
Yeah, I don't find it to be true.
I don't find it to be true. He did when we first started scouting. Why everybody frowning?
Well, it was the older people, and it's like all they do is walk around with scowls on their face. But
Yeah.
No, they walk around without Botox and from squinting in the sun. That's what it is. Everybody in the United States
they
got
just need some
Botox.
Botox.
So, but yeah, you're right. We were in a working class neighborhood. I think that had something to do with it. I think we were staying in a place where people had to physically work harder. And now we're in the city center. So I think that made a difference. But here's the thing. And no, like I felt like Mexicans were more friendly, but in the same way Americans are more friendly. That don't mean it's any deeper than that. It's just politeness, right? And I'm not saying that about Mexicans because I don't speak enough Spanish to have developed those kinds of relationships. But there is definitely a kindness and a compassion with Portuguese people that is very, very obvious. And that's what I fell in love with. And it just, they're ready to help. How can we help? And I love it. So I've got to give a shout out, the Professional Nomad podcast. Let's find, hello, new name.
Yeah.
New name, Salud. And oh gosh, we learned a really crazy Catalonian toast here. I can't remember what it is. But I knew it had sexual innuendo.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have me out here saying this stuff and get slapped. Anyway, so thank you for the, I can't tell if it's a super chat or super sticker, but y'all know that all of our super chat, super sticker, and super thanks money goes to our scholarship fund. We give scholarships for our financial course. Our financial course is to get you to financial freedom so that you can bop around the world like we do. Now, even for, you guys are still working, right?
Yeah. So Courtney and I still work 9 to 5.
Justin? Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have to have your financial act together to leave the country and bop around. Like you can't have mounds and mounds of debt and all this other stuff and think you're going to have this copacetic life out here in these international streets. So if you want to know how to get your financial act together, it's Beyond the Bling Financial. It is Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence. That information is in the description below. And we've already given away 5 scholarships. So thank you, community, for helping the community. We love it. We love it. We love it. All right, let me go back to these other ones. Okay, so you guys don't have residency in Spain yet, correct?
No, we do not. So, and I could see the question, do we have universal health care or private?
Yeah.
Is that the one? So actually we never got residency in Mexico. We do not have residency yet in Spain. What we do have is nomad insurance. So I think after the pandemic, a lot of companies popped up and started offering health insurance wherever you are in the world. So not only do we contribute to our, healthcare plan from our jobs that covers us in the States, but we also pay extra. I think it's about $80 a month for our family. Courtney handles it, but it'll cover us for emergencies. It'll cover us for doctor visits abroad. And they'll helicopter you back to where you need to go if something dramatic happens.
Yeah. So what we found out while we were here, we went to a meetup of expats, Greta. And so apparently you can't get on the public system until you've been here, had residency for a year. And so the folks that we were talking to have private insurance. And then a couple of the folks, I should say, have been here long enough to also be on the public system while they maintain private insurance the same way we do. So that is one of the differences between residency in Spain and residency in Portugal. So while Courtney is away, I'm going to ask you some men questions.
Yeah.
Because men tend to be risk averse. That's back. Men tend to be the ones who are like, I don't know. Is it safe? Is it this? Is it that? And we hear from a lot of ladies that ask you, Rick, right? How do I convince my husband? How do we get on the same page?
Yeah.
So I want to hear from you. What would you say to the men out there who are risk averse, scared, whatever? They're not going to admit they're scared, but you know.
Yeah. I will say two things. One, is your situation back in the States risk averse? You know, are you sending your kids to safe public schools? Is there school shootings in your city, in your neighborhood? You know, are the police stopping you and profiling you? Like, all of those things are risks as well. I would say the second thing is the opportunity that you can find abroad, right? So we're not exactly at that place yet, but we have met a lot of expats, travelers, nomads who have made a new living by working abroad, right? Whatever your skill is, you can actually make better living wages abroad and have a lower cost of living. So it's not just about you have to do remote jobs or have a ton of money and saved up in the bank. You could still find your niche. You know, if you're a barber, we've seen tons of like hairdressers, barbers, chefs really make it out here. So it's really, to me, about planning it out and keeping it open-minded.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to say the wages in Portugal are low. They're low. Yeah. My barber charges 10 euro. And he's a barber.
Yeah.
But barbers here do coloring and stuff like that, which I hadn't seen that in American barbershops, but I'm sure they do. I just didn't go that often. But I do know that when I started to get his hair cut, heck, 10 years ago or more, it was costing more than $10 10 years ago in Denver, Colorado. Now, I always round up and give him more because he's good and I want him to do a great job. So, and because we can afford it. So I always give him a little bit more, but you know, so you've got to take that into consideration based upon where you're coming. How are you going to do this thing? Like if you are targeting tourists, you can charge whatever you want. Somebody that I know who's doing walking tours and let's just say he gets 25 euro per person and I'm counting 50 people. Y'all do the math.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Because what's his cost? Some tennis shoes and the handouts.
Right. I mean, I've met photographers, videographers who come out there and a lot of them are tourists or a lot of them are foreign to that country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So what did you think of Malaga?
Yeah, I enjoyed Malaga. I think we didn't stay long enough to really get a feel for, is this city livable? It felt more touristy, but it was comfortable. It was really nice. There's a beach, and I've heard great things. So I would definitely explore Malaga again. Like, to me, if Madrid didn't work out, I would look into Malaga.
Yeah, I think Malaga was beautiful.
It was nice.
Malaga had nice weather. It was coastal. The food was delicious. I think when we went to Malaga, we stayed like outside of the city center. And then a little bit more into our visit, we got to actually explore the city center. And so we didn't really Malaga was kind of like the halfway point until we went to like Morocco and then came back. So I think we treated Malaga more like a vacation than like we were actually scouting.
Yeah.
But Malaga was gorgeous. I definitely go back. Malaga is beautiful.
We're having internet issues again, folks.
I don't think it's going to go away.
I don't know what's happening. But so was Morocco a vacation or a scouting trip?
Yeah, Morocco was a vacation, but we treat everything like a scouting trip.
Yeah, everywhere we go, it's just like, could we live here? What is it like? We're kind of like making these observations and things. Because I like to leave room to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So we got to Morocco and it wasn't like we were planning to, live there, but I get there and I'm like, could we live here?
Yeah. I never gave it any thought, and that's one thing I will say is like, until this year when you brought up Africa, I have not thought of living on the continent of Africa. I don't know if it's propaganda or if my mind just hasn't gotten it. Yeah, it's exposure. But yeah, our mind has been open to a lot of ideas. But for us back then, Morocco was a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories about Morocco. It would never be on my list, but I definitely want to visit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Horror
everywhere's worth a visit.
Yeah.
Well, not everywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, some places that you would never want to live are definitely worth a visit. We loved South Africa. And I call South Africa like Africa, right? They've gone through the same turmoil to the nth degree that we did in America, but worse because it was on their homeland. You can come in my house and tell me what to do. So they have different isms, but a lot of the same isms. Right. There's also not the purity that they have in other parts of Africa where they can look at you and tell which tribe, right? There was so much intermixing that too, the vast range of shades that we come in was also very present in South Africa, and we could relate to that, right? So South Africa was great, but I haven't been to Morocco. I've just heard horror stories. Alberto wants to know about the housing and food and rent in Madrid.
Yeah. I would say food, everything outside of rent is nice and affordable. Like the services in Madrid are super affordable. My haircut was 10 euros. Xavier's was 5 euros.
Yeah. I went and got my lashes done. It was like $60, I think, which is funny. That's always kind of where I like base for how expensive something is, because in Atlanta, certain lash techs, it can run you like upwards of like $200, depending on the service. Yeah. And then some places, it's closer to $30. So it's definitely very affordable. Yeah. I think looking at rent is tricky because there are several different avenues you can kind of go down. So we have been looking at a mixture of like local listings. Idealista is the site that we've been looking at. And then also like Spot Home, Airbnb, things like that. So obviously, right, like the Airbnb is going to be super expensive. But I don't know. I don't think rent is that bad, but we've never rented in a city like Madrid.
Yeah.
So for 3 bedrooms, furnished, anywhere from like 80 to 110 meters squared. I think we've seen places like apartments going from maybe like 16 to like
1,500 to upwards to whatever.
Upwards to whatever.
But I think for like, I was helping one of my friends look, he's single, he just needs a studio or a 1-bedroom, and I was showing him places for under 1,000 euros a month. For us, we have 2 kids and we both want to work remotely. We need space. So we're looking at like 3 bedrooms, and that's been tricky in Europe.
I think the space is the big thing.
Yeah.
Because especially like we're used
American that way. We're used to Mexico where you get like a villa for 2,000 a month. And now we're like, oh man, like we're looking at these small cramped apartments where you're
cramped, but European.
Your washer is in the kitchen
with no dryer.
Yeah. But it's you gotta pay that to live in a walkable city.
Yeah.
Outside is
or at least
nice.
To live in like the certain areas where you want to be. Anywhere you're in the city center, you're gonna get the city center tax. You're out of the city center, you're gonna get a different rate. But I would definitely say, especially as far as Europe goes, Spain, Portugal, like that little pocket through Southern Europe is always going to be, we looked at some of the rent prices up in like Amsterdam because we love it up there. And I was like, ooh, like that's a pearl clutcher as far as like how much that costs compared to Spain.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's like New York City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole different ball game up there.
Yeah. It hurt my feelings.
I would say those Madrid prices. they don't want normal folks up there. I was going to say, they don't want poor folks up there. They don't want normal folks up there. But those prices are, and so for those of you who don't know, about 105 square meters is about somewhere around 12 to 1,300 square feet. Small by, for an apartment, not for an apartment. And those prices are pretty much the same in Lisbon. So Action VJ wants to know, so when are y'all starting your channel?
This week.
If only. We are launching our podcast as well as our YouTube channel next month. So in October, we will be available on other platforms other than Instagram, which is where we are primarily right now.
Okay. All right. And then we kind of answered this. You kind of answered this, but we were talking about the old school thinking down in the southern part of Spain and feeling invisible. But I didn't know, Courtney, if there was anything that you wanted to add to that. Did you feel the same thing? Did it seem more conservative, less accepting?
So the short answer is kind of yes, with some caveats. I think I am someone who is sensitive to like cultural, socio-political, and then infra-political like cues, which is a very long way of just saying, I pay attention to all the little things. I didn't feel any sort of like aggression or a distinct feeling of like being uncomfortable or being othered. But I do think that through that region, we picked up on like more of the conservative, and I don't know if I'd say old school or not, but definitely like more of a conservative vibe. So more of like, I don't know that we saw any like gay couples, for instance, in Seville, right? But when we're in Barcelona, when we're in Madrid, right? Like they're everywhere. We saw a lot of children dressed like in not even just uniform, like they were going to school, but dressed in like, those little like trouser pants with like the buttons, like they look like Five from Umbrella Academy.
Like 1950s.
Yeah. So we can listen to their dressing, the way that they kind of carried themselves. And I'm not sure if it's because of the time of year.
It was around Christmas.
We were there. Yeah. Or what, but it just seemed
very traditional.
Yeah. It felt like 1950s, like the people that you see and like the way that they're interacting with each other, but it didn't feel like aggressive or standoffish or like anyone was being like super cold or anything like that. But it was just an interesting observation of like the vibe that they have here is fine, like no value judgment, but it also doesn't feel like our vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Every place is not for everybody. Expandable zippers for anyone buying suitcases. Any issues with expandable zippers? BP, tell me more. I don't understand.
She's talking about expanding the suitcases?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not. Okay. So that we always like we bought the smallest carry-ons that we could find. And what did we take? Tap? What did we take?
Tap.
Okay.
Because I said, yeah.
Yeah. And still they were too big and they made us check it for $100. Wow.
Yeah.
No, not $100, €100.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone apply for a scholarship? Thank you. Okay. So that was asked twice. You need to send us an email, hello@ourblackutopia.com, and let us know what you expect to get out of the course. They're talking about Beyond the Bling, our financial course for financial freedom that comes with monthly private group coaching calls with Rick and me. What company do you use? Oh, insurance.
For insurance.
We use Safety Wing, right? It's still Safety Wing.
Yeah.
It's called it's called Safety Wing.
Yeah.
We used Safety Wing when we had travel insurance.
Yeah, we did use Safety Wing when we were scouting last year. And I see, all types of things are going on technically. I don't know what it is today. I don't know, but there might be a link below, guys, for Safety Wing. So if not, just Google it. Okay, Cherie. I'd be interested in data analysts, data integration positions, either remote or US based, that allow remote workers. Do you have any tips for someone without a degree? We're assuming that you've done that before, Cherie. I don't know. You guys work tech. I don't know. Do you have any?
Yeah, I will say getting into tech, I'm not a data analyst, but I work like around data analysis and product analytics. I think with a lot of these tech positions, some companies do still just require degrees just because they require degrees. But a lot of them, fortunately, have grown up. So especially startups and scale ups now are looking for people that have more experience over degrees. So a few different ways that you can get into a tech role without a degree. It looks like one, networking, getting LinkedIn certifications, being able to showcase your experience that which is easier if you're liking UX, something you can build a portfolio, but any way that you can showcase that you have experience doing this. Resume and LinkedIn optimization, I know, are like really, really big. And then I would say too, like just keep like applying, but specifically looking at like startups and scale ups as opposed to some of those like older, more established companies that kind of just toss your resume immediately if you didn't go to college.
Yeah. Except for Google, supposedly you can get the Google degree. The other thing, Cherie, is if you don't know about Exodus Summit, it's for Black women. Libria Jones is going to be talking for Exodus Summit. If you're not interested in Portugal, she's also going to be talking about finding remote work as well at the Move to Portugal virtual summit. That's going to be first weekend in November. And she's talking about 6-figure jobs, y'all. And she is the remote work queen and has been doing it before I even knew it was a thing. She's been working remotely. So that's going to be at Exodus Summit. Just type in Exodus Summit. It will come up if you're not interested in Portugal. If you are, then come to Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. And she's going to be talking at both. But Exodus Summit is for Black women. She's Black, Cherie's Black, but for all the men's you're gonna have to find some woman to go on your behalf and then give you the information. All right, servant teacher Nikki, I may have missed it, but what do the two people do for income? So yeah, they work remotely. Who else is in the chat? All chatting to each other. You know to put a Q. See, some people know. We've got some new people in the house. So let me just go ahead and put that down there. Okay, BP. Latest is use hard-sided when possible. Even airlines are cutting into bags in a hurry to check bags. What? Really? See, it's interesting because when they made us check our bag in Lisbon, I was like, this has equipment in it. And every time we check a bag with equipment in it, it gets stolen. She's like, well, put a lock on it. I said, yeah, but TSA locks, they can get into it. She's like, no, they can't. So here in Europe, I guess TSA doesn't do that. Whatever they doesn't do that. So foot locks don't have thing that always forget water out of my well. And gosh, here we go. Are we back? We're gonna cut this short, you guys. We're gonna make sure we get all your questions answered, but I don't know what's happening with this tech. The other thing is what we will do. I'm not going to erase this because I want to keep the chat and I want to keep the questions, but StreamYard has a thing where we can download it and it will take out all the glitches. So if it's glitchy, we will also put another version up under videos as opposed to live. It will not have the live chat, but at least we'll have all of the information. So we'll do that as well. But yeah, so when we were in Heathrow, I've forgotten and left some water in my water bottle. And it's one of those kinds that where the water stays cold for like 9 hours, you know, the stainless steel kind. And I was like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna have to, I've gone through how many?
She always forgets that they always take them from her.
But not, but over here, their equipment is so good. She just looks, she put it under the scanner. She saw a bit of water in there, and she went and did the swipe to make sure that it didn't have any kind of chemicals, dumped the water and gave me back the bottle. That's how they treat you over here. Every bottle that has been taken has been in the United States or in North America. So on the one hand, I don't like that your carry-ons have to be this big. But on the other hand, it's a lot more humane, the whole process at the airport, which I love being there. I don't like the process of traveling. And maybe if I only traveled business class and we just lived in the lounges and didn't have to, you know, deal with the unwashed.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Maybe it would
make
be
it a lot better.
Right. But I'm not trying to pay those business class prices. So unless they allow us to upgrade using points, there's going to be a minute before we're there. Hello from Ohio, Janelle Beyond Ohio. Yes, definitely new name. And that picture, look at that picture. It almost looks like Girona. Look at that. All right. So will there be any discussion at the summit from young families for housing, suburb type living? Yes. Or public schools? Yes. We have 2 families that are going to be talking at the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. One has a young teen and they live outside of the city center. And then there's another family from Coimbra, which is a small town. So they live outside of the city. Coimbra is a city. They're going to say it's a city. I say it's a town. I say it's a town.
It's a small city.
It's beautiful. It's a university town. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's university.
It is beautiful. So yes, we will have both. Okay. Is it true you need to show 5 years proof of medical insurance? So these are Lisbon questions or Portugal questions. Yes, it is true. If you have a pre-existing and you want them to cover it, you have to prove that you've been covered. So you ain't coming here
with no breaks in between.
With no breaks in between. How are they navigating moving around with luggage and stuff? Yeah, I watch the Yarbroughs and they make me tired. All that traveling, carrying their whole life around with them. So how do you guys manage that? So they don't even have kids.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I say, I mean, you just have to live with less at a certain point. And personally, I think that's part of the beauty of traveling the way that we do and living the way that we do. Like when we had to get rid of everything in our house and we had to really purge and like pack and decide what was important. I don't know, there's something so freeing about it. And so I think that traveling around the way that we do, like we do have a storage unit back in the US is one thing. So anytime we touch down back in Atlanta, we check on the storage unit. We may like swap some clothes if we need to, depending on where we're going. But we've gotten to a point now where we have one check bag. Was it one check bag, 2 carry-ons, and then like a backpack, like a diaper bag?
For all of us.
Yeah, for all of us. Everything fits in that, right? Tech, equipment, computers, work stuff.
Yeah.
All of it.
We've condensed it because we've had a lot of trial and error where we were carrying around like 3 check bags.
Yeah, we had like 3 check bags and like 2.
And y'all, if it doesn't, if you have to pivot really quickly, or even in Rio, we had to get in our taxis. We were doing 2 taxis, following one behind each other just to get all of our stuff to the house. Like
it was absurd.
It's more headache than just packing super light. And you could go shopping when you get there.
Yeah, they have clothes, whatever you're going. Like they really do. So if it's a matter of like a pair of shoes here and there, or like some socks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the other thing is just to kind of make stuff fit. Like we use vacuum seal storage bags. So that works well for organization,
Yes.
for making things fit, and then also just to like keep things
Yeah.
fresh, you know, as you move around. So we do that as well. I think it can be deceiving though, because in your checked bag, it can get too heavy really quickly just because things fit and you keep putting stuff in there. But the big thing is that just through trial and error, we've just learned what we actually need and what we don't. And we try to keep things as simple as possible
Yeah.
so that we can move around how we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have more than that here. We don't have a check bag. Well, well, in my opinion, we don't have check bags. To tap, we have check bags. But we came here with 2 carry-ons and 2 backpacks.
Wow.
And that's with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, our computers, the drone, and the mics and all of that stuff. So it's the YouTube equipment. If it wasn't for the YouTube equipment, we really could like 1 carry-on and backpacks, huh?
Yeah, but I could put all the YouTube equipment in the backpack.
Yeah, which is what we're going to do because we're not checking that stuff.
Yeah, I won't check that.
We're not checking it. I don't care. Locks or no locks. We're not checking it. So yeah, it is amazing. Nobody cares what you're wearing.
No.
I have 3 sundresses that I brought here because it's so hot and humid, and I just been rotating them.
Mm-hmm. And that's another
You
thing
know?
we found actually as we traveled is certain places seem to be more like formal, or like the attire is just different, and then other places are very lax. And so one thing we noticed about, or we always make note of and we think about when we move is like, are we going to feel comfortable dressing and in the clothes that we'd like to wear like here? Like some places are just very formal. Guadalajara was
Colombia.
like that a lot. Yeah, Colombia.
As hot as it is in Colombia, they don't wear shorts.
Yeah,
no flip
jeans and
flops.
closed-toe shoes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I think that's another thing is,
Okay.
you know, it gets to a point of building where we are and where we like to be around,
Yeah.
you know, how we like to show up on it.
Yeah, you can be an individual, have your own style, and or you can try to, you know, assimilate a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, it's like no one really cares. I'm wearing the same 2 shoes. I just rotate them, and not a big
Nobody
deal.
cares.
Brands aren't a big deal when you start traveling more.
Mhm.
Nobody cares. And some of that stuff, like when we went back to the States in July and we went to Fox Hills Mall, for those from LA, y'all know Fox Hills Mall. And what were those shoes? Kajizis or something?
She's talking about Yeezys. Kanye West, them little rubber, plastic rubber Yeezys.
So they look like
A mistake.
an alien's foot.
Yeah.
They cost over $100. They're basically Crocs on steroids. And y'all are buying them up and talking about knockoffs and this and that and the other. They're ugly, they're expensive, and people like bought into that as a status symbol. All of y'all wearing them things as a status symbol, you probably are never going to retire. Because if you pay $100 for some rubber shoes that are ugly, y'all don't fall into that. Do not fall into that nonsense.
What's the black ones I just bought for €6? They look like Crocs.
I don't know, the knockoff Crocs.
Knockoff Crocs.
So
you wear them in the house.
they're for house shoes. So, So if you look, Laura, yet I don't know that we're going to be doing the virtual summit next year. We'll see how it goes there, and I feel, you know, this is starting to sound like work. I don't like it. So afterwards, we may or we may not do it. I think you should go ahead and come, because here is the thing. Laws change. And if there is a way to move that 2 years up to maybe the end of next year, you apply and then move the beginning of 2025, because every year the laws change. When we started investigating Portugal, our taxes were going to be 0%. They ain't 0%, y'all.
And they had the golden visa.
And they had the golden
Visa's
visa.
gone away.
Golden visa's gone away. They're talking about limiting the digital nomad visa. And, you know, and we have to pay taxes now. And we still pay a discount for 10 years, but still. European taxes are no joke because they actually do stuff with their taxes. They actually have healthcare. You know, you can get a mammogram out of pocket for €50 or whatever, right? You're not paying $500 like they charge me in the United States. Were you homeowners before you decided to move abroad? Or if so, did you sell? So you missed the first part, Cherie. Yes, they were homeowners. So what size storage unit? And are you paying more for the storage unit than you're paying rent in Madrid?
Oh man, we want to get rid of the storage units so badly. Every time they charge us,
I know you do.
I'm like, oh, we still have this? Because it's not that big.
It's not that expensive either, really, but
it's recurring.
Yeah, it is recurring. Any expense that's not necessary.
It could stay in our parents' basement, or you know, or somebody can hold on to some stuff.
Yeah. It's not that much, but truthfully, the next time we go back, we do need to whittle it down because a lot of it is just like important documents, a handful of sentimental things, and then it's just a lot of like clothing, and a lot of it is kids' clothes that like who knows if they even will fit it by the time we get back. So we need to make a nice donation run for sure when we get back to Atlanta.
Yeah, we scanned our important documents. Some of them came with, are at our same with back on the thing. Same. Out again, y'all. We will re-upload here to the cloud. So, but yeah, realize if you've forgotten what's in there, you probably don't need it.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
BP, they got babies here. Spanish folks have babies. You know I'm talking crap. They have babies. So, I mean, is there any brand that you were like loyal to, or anything that you needed for your baby that you haven't been able to find?
For the kids?
Yeah.
No. I mean, things are going to be different. So like, for instance, in Mexico, a lot of things are scented, like everything from toilet paper to baby wipes to diapers. Our kids have sensitive skin. So like, that's kind of like a thing, right? Finding something unscented, but no, I mean, if, you know, like you said, like they have babies there, babies live there, kids live there. So they have infrastructure and things in places for babies. You know, my hair products, that's a whole other kind of like conversation, but
I'd say
things for the kids, no.
Yeah, hair products for Black people and electronics. Electronics are not as easy to get and can be more expensive depending on where you are.
So you can find Black hair care products in Lisbon all along, of course, because there's so many Black folks. But one of the things in electronics is different. They're not necessarily less expensive. Like food is so much less expensive, that's for sure.
Yeah, electronics aren't.
But one of the things that struck me, this young lady, Rick pulled out this, what's that grip thing?
Oh, my shift cam.
Yeah, so there's a thing that he can put his phone in, and you can take pictures as if you have an SLR camera. And so she saw that, and she's like, you know, Americans just have the coolest gadgets. So those are the kinds of things that are harder to find, the gadgets, right? We bought our drone in Lisbon at the DJI store. You know, they have a DJI store. So, you know, you can find the things. But the little gadgets that will come from Amazon overnight.
It's going to cost you a premium.
Right? Or, so we ordered, we knew we were coming. We ordered stuff because they have Amazon Spain. They don't have Amazon Portugal. And how long did it take?
You can order it and get it within a day. I'm sure you can get overnight stuff too.
However, if you're going to send it to a locker and a Amazon locker, and a lot of these lockers are in stores, this is Spain. Maybe they're open, maybe they're not. Every other week's a holiday.
Yeah, I'm looking to get my Amazon package, and it says, I look on the website and it said it's attempting to be delivered, but the Amazon counter that it was being delivered to was closed.
It was closed.
Yeah, you have to.
Well, what?
You definitely have to
so
assume
weird
that things could either be open or closed. There's a 50-50 shot. And we learned
That's
that.
Right. Yes. The sign on the door and the website are merely suggestions.
Yes.
So if living in Southern Europe, these are just the things. It's kind of like Mexico. It's it's nice weather. It's relaxed. It's not that of Germany or Amsterdam or someplace like that. If you need efficiency, you're gonna pay for that efficiency too. It's not Southern Europe, y'all. So you just go with the flow, and you go with the flow, and you know that you're not going to have to deal with all of the stressful, abject oppression that comes from being Black in America. Mm-hmm. That piece right there. All right. So we're going to close it out. But what I want to know is, how has this changed your mental and physical health and your perception of yourself in the world?
That's a beautiful question.
Yeah.
I think the first thing, as far as mental health goes, is, when we left the US the first time with Whitley, that first big move, I think it was right around the time that there was that elementary school shooting in Texas. And I remember my heart hurt. I mean, all of our hearts hurt so bad over that. But I remember looking at Zay, who was was he 3?
Yeah.
He was like 2.5, 3 at the time. And there was this very complex feeling of I'm so glad we're sparing him from that. And I think that I carry that with me wherever we go, because people can say what they want about Colombia being dangerous or Brazil being dangerous or whatever. They don't shoot up elementary schools there. They just do not. It doesn't happen. So I think my mental health.
Right. Dang it.
To come back in a second.
This never.
I'm plugged directly into it.
I know.
Oh,
can y'all hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. So they shoot up an elementary school, and the laws still don't.
Nothing changes.
Nothing.
When in New Zealand, the laws changed.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts and prayers. Maybe she'll just come because we're.
Y'all being patient, and we just thank you so much for your patience, you guys. The technical issues. So I'm gonna let you guys close out. So especially before the baby wakes back up. So you carry around with you the feeling that you are giving your son a break from never having to experience that, never having to do those drills and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. What else?
Yeah. I think too, it helps us see ourselves more clearly, not just as individuals, but as members of the broader African diaspora. So in encountering other Black ethnic groups that aren't just African American or even like West Indian, right, where our roots are. Justin's actually from Toronto. He's a Canadian anyway. But we're able to see more, to connect more deeply, and to think more about what anti-Blackness looks like on a global stage, what it looks like intersectionally, and also understand our own privilege as U.S. citizens, socioeconomic privilege, passport privilege, all of that stuff as we move through the world. So I think it's really beautiful, the kind of like introspection that it's allowed us and like opportunities to really dig deep and understand what about our roots, our heritage, and our upbringing do we think kind of like serves the collective, and what do we want to nurture in that and see that nurture in our kids, and what things about, you know, growing up in the US do we want to make sure that we let go and we don't pass on to our children. I think that's kind of the overarching theme thus far and part of like our journey of being real like global citizens.
Yeah. And I think that last part is the most important, because we can inadvertently pass along our baggage to our babies, right?
You can put it on the so at least
Whitley wants to join us.
Does she want to visit with us, or does she? Oh my gosh! Hey, baby girl, she is so cute. Oh my gosh, with her little bonnet on. I love it. Oh, she doesn't know how fortunate she is, but she will. She will. You have brilliant mom and dad, and you will realize it one of these days. So we are going to close out. We're going to take them off screen, but don't go anywhere. Thank you so much. We appreciate you giving us a time and suffering through these technical issues. I don't know what the heck is going on, but so everyone say bye-bye to Courtney and Justin, and you will catch them. Their IG is, let me go ahead and put that up right quick. Thought I grabbed it. I definitely know it's in the description below. It's pasted in the description below. So their Instagram handle, they're on TikTok and everything else. And they will be starting their YouTube channel in October is what we hear. All right, lovelies. Thank you so much. And we are going to close out. We're sorry, y'all. We don't know what's going on. The internet has always been perfect.
Yeah, it's been perfect. Man.
And then here we go.
I mean, you're plugged into stuff. We even turned the Wi-Fi back on to make sure
we didn't lose connection, but who knows? Anyway, so the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, early bird prices in today. If you need to get your money straight, we have monthly group coaching in our Beyond the Bling Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence. If you don't need that much help, but you just kind of need a push, a nudge, get the Ready to Retire Toolkit. That's free. It's down below. And then we also have a Move Abroad Toolkit. That's down below. So with that, we love you all.
Love you guys.
We will see you from Lisbon next week.
Oh.
Yes. And we've got beautiful shots. You guys saw a sneak peek of Girona. We've got beautiful shots. And we are going to show you what Girona looks like. It's a beautiful town, and it definitely should be on your list.
Definitely.
All right, y'all. See you next week. Bye.